I want to welcome everybody to Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop Up. Yes, Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop Up. Pitch Your Nonprofit Pop Up is a new series that we're going to be doing here on this particular club of the Nonprofit Founders Club. As you know, Pitch Your Nonprofit is the number one nonprofit show on Clubhouse, and actually number one nonprofit pitch show throughout the world. We have helped nonprofit founders raise over $500,000 from the Clubhouse stage. Actual cash, actual hard, cold money going to nonprofits to help them expand their client base, expand their nonprofit, expand their brand, and expand their business. And if you're new to Pitch Your Nonprofit Show, Pitch Your Nonprofit Show is one of, it's not the flagship show out of the Nonprofit Founders Club. It is a pitch show that is, it's very similar to Shark Tank in a way. We have amazing sharks that actually come on board and listen to the pitches. But the number one thing that I love about Pitch Your Nonprofit Show is it gives me the opportunity to leverage my tech experience and my experience in Silicon Valley, my experience in tech, and my experience in pitch in order to train nonprofit founders on how to pitch like tech founders. So on Pitch Your Nonprofit Show, that's what we do. We're working on perfecting the art of pitch, and we're also not just leaving you there, we're also funding you. So that's super, super exciting. So, what I wanted to do today is to give you, nonprofit founders, the opportunity to just come up and do a pop up. This is very different from the Pitch Your Nonprofit Show. Pitch Your Nonprofit Show, as you know, we go over the perfect pitch framework, and that framework helps you frame your nonprofit positioning to investors, to people who are donors, to people who are stakeholders in your organization and really in your mission. And we outline the parallels between a tech founder and how they're raising millions and millions of dollars in Silicon Valley and bringing that particular framework to you as nonprofit founders. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love to see nonprofit founders thrive. And I want to take this opportunity outside of Pitch Your Nonprofit Show. I wanted to come on Clubhouse and give you an opportunity to talk about your particular nonprofit. So if you are a nonprofit founder who would love to come up, I want you to raise your hand. This is that opportunity. If you want to go over your practice for your pitch, if you want to go over your consulting, if you want to go over what you think will get you to the next level, this is the time to do that. This is a completely free Pitch Your Nonprofit pop up. It is sponsored by Liberty Madison, and it's really focused on having you come to the stage, come up and really get your nonprofit to the next level. And as you know, and if you are new to Pitch Your Nonprofit, as you know, for me, I focus on increasing visibility for tech companies, founders, and people that really want to grow through unconventional methods and unconventional content. And it's all about that visibility. And as I mentioned on Pitch Your Nonprofit Show, we have funded and helped raise over $500,000 for nonprofit founders across the country. And I want to invite you to raise your hand to come to the stage. And this is the opportunity for you to ask me questions, even if you don't have a question and just want to run something by. As you know, guys, if you have been a part of the Pitch Your Nonprofit journey, we don't even do that on the show at all. So this is the pop-up opportunity. Thank you. And I want to welcome Miss Mary. Miss Mary, how are you?
Hey there, Liberty. I am doing fantastic. How are
I'm
you?
doing great. It's so great to hear your voice.
It has been a while. I got an email and I was like, oh my God, I actually got to make certain that I put this on my schedule to make certain that I am in the room because the pitch your nonprofit space is so, so, so very important. And people that have nonprofits, that love nonprofits, are sleeping on it because it's such a huge opportunity.
Thank you so much for that. I know you've been on the Pitch Nonprofit journey with us for a while, so I'm just so happy to hear that feedback because it's such an amazing opportunity for nonprofit founders. And I know as far as the show specifically, will be back this this winter. We'll be back, but I wanted to come on to do a pop-up version. As you know, we don't even do a kind of conversation back and forth on Pitch a Nonprofit Show. It's never like that. It's never that opportunity to kind of come in and say, how can I scale my business? How can I get to the next level? Or answer any sort of questions dealing with visibility and building out your content and building out your strategy. And this is that opportunity. So if you have any questions regarding your organization, how you can increase your visibility, I am here to help you. What you got, Miss Mary?
Well, so first I want to encourage those that are in the room, and I have leading it into support with you, because when I said that people don't really understand, I remember when I met you, um, I was pitching in the tech rooms, the big rooms where people were asking for
Mm-hmm.
like $3.5 million, and I was crazy enough to say, well, if they can pitch their business, I'm about to pitch mine too, and I just, why not? And getting the feedback that I had got in the room, I will never forget. It was Forbes Riley who was there, and she gave me so much feedback and invited me into her space. And then in talking with her, she was like, "Do you know who Liberty is?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "You've got to connect with her because she is part of the Nonprofit Founders Club, and it could be such a benefit." And I could not find when the picture nonprofit, how that worked. And then when I finally did it, I stepped out not knowing what I was doing, came into the room, came up on stage, and ended up getting funded. That was huge. And so for this space, even being able to have this conversation, you're right. In the normal picture nonprofit room, you get in, you get on, you either get up and out, you it's so fast paced, but it's effective. And so to have the opportunity to talk to you and ask for any advice and support and things of that nature, that is huge. And so that leads me to my question. My question is this: in the nonprofit space, how how can a nonprofit connect with a tech company to be able to create something unique where it could also serve as a funding stream, an additional funding stream, like maybe some type of ongoing commercial, where in the commercial they like ask if can you send a donation to, or every time it gets viewed a donation happens. Is there something like that?
First off, Miss Mary, I love your testimony. I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm getting chills because every time I hear a testimony from someone who benefit directly from Pitch a Nonprofit, it just warms my entire soul. So thank you so much for saying that. And I'm gonna reach out to Forbes to just thank her as well because she's amazing. I love her. And also for your nonprofit, I want to bring the audience in on your organization. So if you can give us a 30-second what your nonprofit is, because that'll help ground people that are listening. Maybe they have concepts and ideas. And to also answer your question, yes, I do have a method that can help you connect with tech companies specifically because that's my background, that's my audience, that's who I work with, and that's why we created Pitch Your Nonprofit, was for that. So let's start with giving us a quick pitch on your specific nonprofit, and then we'll dive in and identify some companies and how we can make that connection for your organization.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I definitely can give you my 30-second pitch. My name is Mary Jenkins, and I am the founder of the Cancer Option Collaborative, a donation funded cancer organization that gives emotional support and financial assistance to men, women, and parents of children in active treatment to prevent evictions, utility disconnections, vehicle repossessions, and so much more, so that those in treatment can focus on what's really important, and that is their recovery. As a two-time breast cancer survivor, I got laid off while going through treatment myself, and I learned through my personal experience that money raised in the world of cancer was not going to help people that needed it in the manner that I mentioned. I'm on a mission to change the narrative surrounding the world of cancer, because people actually battling cancer are just as important as those that are funding cancer research. My name is Mary Jenkins, and I am the founder of the Cancer Option Collaborative.
Thank you so much for that. I think your pitch is powerful, and I also think that that really grounds people that may have some suggestions and want to reach out to you offline to let them know who you are. So let's get into your question. Your specific question is, how do nonprofits in general connect with tech companies? And I want to first start with, why do you want to connect with tech companies, and what do you think that benefit would be for them, and what do you think that benefit would be for you?
I want to connect with tech companies because it's the way that the world is changing. You have to have a strong tech presence. That things have just shifted. We went from where it's everything's hands on to then, of course, we did all the virtual. And so, if as a nonprofit we don't have a strong tech presence, whether it's by video, some way to connect via technology, I believe that we're going to miss out. And so for us, it's like I want to connect so that we can have a presence. And then for the tech company that we partner with, it will give them um, a strong avenue for them to fulfill their give back component.
Okay, great. Great. So, what I heard was, one, you feel like the world moving forward is tech based. Like, it's tech first, it is a tech driven environment, and you want to be a part of that. That's what I
Correct.
heard from the first response. And then the second one was, it will give them an opportunity for a social impact component for their business. Is that basically covering what you just outlined?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think those are excellent points. And I want to talk about a couple of things when it comes to that, because this is a very popular question that I get often, is how do I connect with tech companies? And I want to use actually a Pitch Nonprofit alum as an example. A Pitch Nonprofit alum raised and connected thousands of dollars from a particular tech founder who connected him with tech companies. So we had one particular, uh, I want to say it was Coach. I'm sure you're familiar with Coach Coop. He came on Pitch Your Nonprofit and he pitched his organization. And for me, my audience is a tech audience. And one of a really good friend of mine heard his pitch on Pitch Your Nonprofit show, and he started funding his organization. Not just him, he invited his friends and also connected with his friends in Silicon Valley with a tech company to start funding his organization as well. So that's how that connection was made. And to date, he's received, I believe, over 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, something in that range from the pitch. And I always tell him it's the pitch that keeps on giving. Now he has a well known name in Silicon Valley who's added to the board. He's receiving this funding from various opportunities and looking to continue that success with tapping into tech companies. So, one, you definitely want to partner your organization with a tech company. In your particular nonprofit, there's so many ways that you can work with them as a social impact component. But one thing that I feel like a lot of nonprofits miss is it doesn't necessarily have to specifically lie with a social impact component. It can also lie with the marketing department. And that has nothing to do with social impact. So you have to think of it in two ways. You have two entry points to a tech company. So, one, let's first establish why you want to partner with tech companies, and let's be realistic. Realistically, you want to partner with tech companies because they're the most profitable industry. Let's just say that. I mean, right, Miss Mary? We know that's it. They're the most profitable industry. So let's not start with the impact stuff. Let's start there. They're the most profitable, and it's not going anywhere. Tech companies, if you look at the top Fortune 5, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and the scale and time that it took them to get there versus traditional companies, it's unbelievable. So, one, you want to partner and have a vision to partner your organization with a tech company solely for that reason. Second, when you're looking at who should I partner with, there's tons of tech companies out there. You want to first evaluate your particular organization. So when we're talking about your organization, I believe when I hear your pitch, I hear what you do. Like I hear it's the conversation, age old conversation of features versus benefits. And when I hear your pitch, I already know what your organization does, but when I hear it, I'm thinking of it from a pitch marketing world. And I hear that you create ease for people experiencing the most difficult challenge of their life. Like that's what you do. If I had to
Yeah,
describe it, I wouldn't even
yeah.
do
I
all
mean
the
that
extra.
that literally is perfect.
Yes. So for me, coming from that background, it's like that's exactly the way I would position your organization. And then from there, it's how do you do that? So it's the features versus benefit. And then when you're like head down in your organization, you start just thinking of how you're executing various things. But the entire goal, that's what you're doing. You're creating ease. And when I hear you talk about taking the stress and pain and struggle of light bills and just all of these ancillary things that people don't necessarily think about, that is all encompassing with someone who is on this journey of recovery from cancer. I hope you're taking note of these phrases and words, right? So when
I
you're
am.
okay, perfect. When you're doing that, I think that's where you shine. So now that we have the reframing and repositioning, we can look at what tech company resonates with that. Because other if you don't have the right framing and positioning, you don't know who resonates with it. But it's so many people that resonate with that of providing ease and financial ease. So on from the top, you necessarily wouldn't think, oh, maybe I reach out. I'm going to ask you before I go into a couple of people that I think would be perfect. When you're looking at this, because obviously you had this question, what industries or what tech companies were you thinking of?
The one that I was like, I really don't know what tech companies are out there, but I this is crazy. I remember a few years ago having met the people from Microsoft, and I'm like, okay, I meet some of the most amazing people, but I have horrible follow up because I meet so many people. And I remember that they had a campaign for nonprofits, but it wasn't what I was thinking that could benefit the organization the way my mind is thinking. And so I was like, I probably would just reach out to them and ask them if they would be open to, you know, having a different type of relationship. So, what other tech companies are out there? And I, like I said, I know there's plenty out there.
Right.
Um, I'm not a tech person, so I don't
Okay,
know.
I think you know what? I think you introduced a good point. From tech company to tech industry. So one of the things, if we look at the first question I asked was, what industry were you thinking? And then what company were you thinking? So let's go on, let's put some action items for everyone listening. Let's identify, now that we went through the positioning, we're looking at who is in alignment, and then we're looking at the best industry that aligns, and then from there we're looking at creating a list. Let's just say we're creating a list of top 10 of companies who are in this particular industry that we've already identified that will align. So when I hear about your organization and then the repositioning that we just did, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and also keep in mind, we just talked about we're not just focused on social impact. There's various departments and entry points into tech organizations for funding. It's not just social impact. And I'll go into why you don't want to focus on that as well. It's not just there. But the first thing that comes to mind is, and I know this is something that you probably weren't thinking about, but fintech. That's an industry. So when you're looking at fintech specifically, and do you know what fintech is or what that encompasses, Miss Mary?
No, I was like, fintech? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so when you're looking at fintech, that is financial tech. So in the tech industry, there are various subgenres. So there could be someone who's focused on martech, edtech, fintech, and it just goes on and on. And that really narrows down who biotech, medtech. It really narrows down the particular industry of these companies. So from there, what you would look at is We already identified that you're providing financial relief for people going through the fight of their lives, a difficult time, right? So let's land on the finance, because what's the key thing? Financial. We're talking about financial
Right?
relief. So if we're looking to identify fintech companies, first, that's what we do. We identify fintech companies. From that point, we can look at what are they doing to have a social impact and visibility in their region or nationally, it doesn't matter, in their region, and how they're looking to measure that success. And they're, because they're fintech companies, they tend to partner with people talking about financial relief, financial education, find just various things that you can wrap your nonprofit around. Does that make sense in that realm?
That, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Does that sound like something that for your organization that you can outline and you can start to research and you can look up fintech companies and then
Yes,
from
and
okay,
it's
go
really
ahead.
good because one of the things that we wanted, one of the things that we want to make certain that the people that reach out to us, that they get the support that they need, but then also, have real conversations, like if they don't have any savings in place, how are they spending, what's their budget, those things, so that they can prepare should something else happen in the future.
And this, I wish I had my bell, but I'm not at my studio. I wish I had my bell. Ding, 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 ding. This is what I said. This is powerful because what we just did right now in front of everyone here, and I want you to follow Miss Mary and follow her progress. And what we just did, when you outline, and I think people don't really focus on the importance of strategy, the importance of positioning, and the importance of pitch. Before that pitch work that we just did and that strategy positioning, we wouldn't have even landed here. We wouldn't have even landed at looking at preparing for the future. And that's literally what you're doing. You're helping people and then giving them relief and preparing for the future. So, Miss Mary, I feel like that is more than enough to get you started and to get you going. And I want to make sure that you connect with me. Also, you can connect with me by clicking on my face and connect with me at Instagram, Liberty Madison, and also Pitch Your Nonprofit Instagram, and reach out because I really enjoyed and love your question because that is one of the webinars that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. It's how to connect nonprofits with tech companies because that is my area of expertise and that's something I can definitely help with and help move along. So Miss Mary, hopefully that was helpful for you. Was that helpful for you?
That was very, very helpful. And I'm like, man, she gets what I'm trying. She gets the future, because when I don't believe that people battling cancer is going to stop anytime soon. And that's just, we still have a long ways to go. There's so many different types of cancer, so I'm not limiting it to just breast cancer, but there's going to be a need for you know
Financial
financial
planning.
understanding,
Mm-hmm.
financial planning, preparation. It's like, how many of us have a will? you know
Yeah.
how many of us have life insurance? And or even, because I mean, we were starting conversations with Aflac because Aflac has a cancer policy, but it's like, how many people prepare because we don't think it'll happen to us,
Right.
and then when it happens, it's like, oh my God, what do you mean I've been diagnosed with cancer? Now I can't get life insurance. Now I can't get the Aflac policy. Now I can't do these things. I don't have savings. And that's what sends them down the rabbit hole. And we're like, we got to catch them before they fall off so that we can help them and make certain that as they go forward, they get the support that they need. So, yes, this is
Absolutely.
perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely, Miss Mary. And make sure, and I know you're already on the email list, but for everyone else, go to pitchnonprofit.com, sign up on that email list, and I would love to continue to build with you as we prepare to bring back another season of Pitch Your Nonprofit Show. I'm really enjoying this pop up. So thank you so much, Miss Mary. We're gonna head over to Miss Michelle. Thank you so much for your patience. And I would love to hear about your organization and your nonprofit and see how we can get you to the next level, Miss Michelle.
Thank you so much, Liberty, for opening this. And I also received the email about the pop-up. So I was like, yay. So my name is Michelle Amons. I am.
Can you imagine how good it would feel to have people looking for you? To have organizations, foundations, funders, investors looking for you to give you money instead of you being one of the millions looking for them. That is what building your influence looks like. That's the ROI of influence.